going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Squawk Seas podcast, your favorite Pokemon podcaster's favorite Pokemon podcast. And we're coming at you guys on a Tuesday in it. The Tuesday after the European International Tuesday in it. We are coming to you live. Oh, by the time you get this, it'll be Friday. Coming to you shortly after the European International Championships. We got a lot to talk to. I am Kyle Koopa Rios, and I am joined, as I always am, by my co-host, good friend, certified British man for a few days, Pony Bottle Champ, Mr. George Fabray. Georgie, how you doing, buddy?
So tired. So tired. Got in from London. I got home at 11 p.m. last night.
I just want the record to show that I gave George the option select to not record the podcast tonight because he literally just got back from London last night. I'm assuming you went to work today.
I worked all day.
You worked all day today. So I gave him the option select and not to do this
First
today.
meeting was at 8:15.
You're a psychopath.
Hey, man, we pushed through.
You're an actual psychopath.
We pushed through for the pod, you know. I got to start testing for Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. George decided that he just wants to go to Atlanta now. So guess who out of the friend group's not going to Atlanta? Decided it's me.
It's not too late. You can still rester.
I probably can. Let me see. Let me get through rent first. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
There you go.
You don't tempt me with a good time. Anyway, we are.
Everybody's doing it.
Peer pressure. I feel like I'm about to start smoking cigarettes now. So,
well, maybe
when in Rome. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We're gonna get George's side from the floor on the European International Championships. Going to talk a lot about what happened because it was quite the fun tournament to watch. And we're going to do our Squawk and Seas. There was some other like news stuff and card stuff that came out. Pokemon Day is going to be coming this Thursday, so we'll talk about that on next week's episode because there's so much to talk about with the European International Championship that both pertains to us in our friend group and also just a wider scene in general. So I'll start with the general question. George, how was your trip to London? Talk about how it was your first time in London, correct?
First time in Europe, to be honest with you. I'll say this: the food stinks. It's bad. This is not good.
That's sad.
But you know what? Like the food is also though. Like I feel like the quality of food is better there. Like I had less tummy issues there.
There's a friend of the podcast, Emily, has a friend in London, and he said that American food, quote unquote, gives him vibrations, and something about that just made a lot of sense.
Yeah, way less tummy issues. But here's the thing, right? So we went to Mayfair, which is like the really like ritzy part of London. Like they got the nice shops over there, beautiful area. Like London in general is beautiful. Except for like the weather. The weather's it's depressing and you just want to kill yourself. But really pretty buildings, like all the structures, the sidewalks, the roads, a lot of cobblestone, old looking, really like, easy on the eyes. So we go to Mayfair, cool area. Someone recommended me, hey, go to the Mayfair Chippy, best fish and chips in town, right? So we got to go, right? Fish and chips were fantastic. They were really good fish and chips. But here's the thing. They're fish and chips. Still fried freaking cod and french fries, no matter how you cut it. Yeah, so, like, how good could it really be? You know what I mean? Like, top level of this, but the ceiling of food is here. We're like here. Can't really see. Here and here, Like, it's just... It was, but other things on the menu there, the food was fantastic at that place. If you're ever in London, highly recommend the Mayfair Chippy. There will be a line, and it's for good reason. They're always packed. They're always busy. But I got a freaking Scotch egg there, man. Oh, baby. The Scotch egg hates to see this guy come. You know that.
I know. Yeah. We killed a platter of Scotch eggs in San Antonio, Texas. I love Scotch eggs. They're so good.
Yeah, I posted on my Instagram. So if you go back and look at there, it's like right in the corner of the one picture with all the food. Oysters though were phenomenal. Had some really good oysters all weekend. Even got some oysters in Boston when we had our layover. So I ate a lot of oysters this weekend. Apparently, Harrell also loves them a lot too. So we just ordered them everywhere we went. We went to like this market called Borough Market that's very famous there. It's like always like a
Yes.
go-to thing in London.
If you're a
And
food person, you're very familiar with Borough Market.
yeah, and I would say like definitely a must try or must visit there. The must try there, I don't really know. Like we all got a bunch of different things. We're all sharing things, so it was really cool, unique experience in that sense. Where it's like, okay, someone got this. I got like a shepherd, like a little like pie, um, which had like it was like a beef stew, like steak stew with like beef kidney, which sounds weird, but it was tasty, and I
They
ate it
love
up.
their meat pies in London, so
Yeah, but we had oysters there because there was two shops, and they're just got all these different oysters from like Europe lined up out there. They're just shucking them all day. They get them in fresh. It was phenomenal. Other than that, man, like any other food that we just ate randomly, like I don't know. We got Turkish food the first day. That was really good. But it's Turkish food. Like if you like Turkish food, it's gonna be good. Like it, I wouldn't say like it was really good to eat. Like we ate well, but was I like, man, the food in London, top notch? I think we just went to like a lot of good places. You know what I mean?
yeah. Is Borough Market? I think I saw a place like that on Instagram. Is that where they had like like the strawberries that are like covered in chocolate? Was there a stand that had those?
I'm sure, man. Like it's just so overwhelming. And we went on a Sunday, like early morning, like early afternoon, and it was just packed, right? Like you could barely walk. So once you like kind of found a niche, like Rob found this like nuts place that did honey and cinnamon cashews. Those were
Oh,
really, really good.
did they compare to the hot nuts guy in Manhattan?
Yeah, like better than that. But like it is the same concept, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like they're going for the New York style nut, and it I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. There is good food in London. I'm not saying that there's not. But average, like anywhere you eat, is the food good? No. Like it's like again, like they pride themselves on fish and chips, and it's just like how good can fish and chips really be? So
Did you try a full English while you were there?
I didn't. I couldn't do it. It's just absurd. I mean, not eating baked beans in the morning, bro. Like it's just I don't understand.
That's where you draw the line.
Yeah, and the other thing that kind of pissed me off too, like they had Starbucks there, but we never really had access to Starbucks in the morning. So I only had one cold brew. So like early in the morning they have like a chain called Costa's Coffee, and I had to get a iced latte both days, which it's fine, but doesn't hit like an American cold brew.
No.
Like, but it did help me go 4-0 to start the tournament.
Yeah, that was one of the big things to talk about amongst our friend group. Uh, George obviously was there to compete with a couple of our other friends that were also there. So George, I'll give you the floor to talk a bit about your run, and then you can talk about everybody else that was there as well. So yeah, you
Yeah,
started 4-0. Good on you, mate.
yeah, it was kind of surreal, dude. Like I literally didn't lose a game, so I really like game wise was 8
For
0.
context, you were playing Charizard also.
Yeah, I was
Let's
gonna get to that. So
like,
yeah, so I
yeah.
was playing Charizard EX, the trolley version. Mr. Michael Bio, who received 14th in San Antonio with Trolleyzard. He kind of cooked the deck to be a little, I guess, more friendly going into Badulok, knowing that it was going to be a big thing in this tournament. Um, Badulok still sucks for Charizard. It's kind of where my demise started. I'll get into that, but listen, round one I played Alugia, and it was freer than free. 2-0'd him real quick. Round two, I feel really bad because I don't remember my second round opponent. It was so fast that yeah, I don't remember it. I can't remember what I played against round two, but I was 2-0, so it was obviously pretty simple. It's messed up to say, but like we finished around under 20 minutes. So um, yeah, shout out to that guy. But round three, I played Pidgeot Control. I won game one. And then he Erica'd me game two. I had no basics. And he's like, yeah, you got it, man. I got nothing. He's like, you know this matchup pretty well. And people that don't know, I 7 0'd a online tournament with this list the the nights before leading up to EUIC. And I did play the control master himself, all out Blitzel, playing Pidgeot control, and I beat him in that tournament as well. So Pidgeot control I know pretty well. In round four, I hit a Maridon. Um, that's just fries in the bag, bro. It's like I don't think it's possible for them to win that matchup. It's literally like impossible
The
if you know
matchup
what you're doing.
stinks.
Yeah, and then round five is when it all went to shit.
Yeah, Joe. Like, I feel so bad. Like, I mean, just from the outside looking in, incredibly proud of you for how you started. That's obviously it's not that
Thank you.
shouldn't go understated. How hard it is to go, to start that hot at a regional. And then unfortunate for George, he what I can only describe as a buzzsaw the next three rounds. I have your Poke data pulled up here, so go ahead and give us a tail. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know how to say his name, and I do apologize. I think he's like the best.
Laskowitz, Mateus
Yeah, yeah,
Laskowitz.
he's the best player in Poland. Was playing uh, not Palkia Dustnor with Badu, and somehow I won game one because I decked him. I beat him on deck out, stalled him out with Charizard to win on deck out, which I'm sure he was very upset about. He was kind of crashing out a little bit during the tournament. He was making me play really fast, and I was like, "Brother, I'm still going to check my deck and play this." But turn game two, he was able just to kind of set up, Badu lock me, and then board wipe me going because I benched another. I finally got a Charmander down. I had Pidgey and then Luminion inactive, and he went Dustnor, uh, my Luminion, Dustnor onto my Charmander, and then Greninja for board wipe. And I was like, yikes, this is going to be really hard to win game three. Game three, he proceeded to Badoo lock me for 4 turns in a row. I instant charged, maybe even 5 times in a row. I think I instant charged. Saw 0 Charmanders. And we took it down to the wire. And then he ended up just winning at the end with Ursaluna. It was a really good set. And I'm actually very proud of myself the way we played it, to go to a game three with, one of the top Europeans like that. Round
Also regional champion this season. So
Also regional championship this season. Yeah. Round six, I played a Polt Dustnor. Won the first game with Briar. Briar's broken. And then game two, it was a long game. He ended up pulling it out. I really thought I had it. And then game three, we started with under 10 minutes. So it ended up being a tie because neither one of us could come to a conclusion on that. He had a chance to board wipe me, but I just, Roxanne stalled Alakazam at the end and he just couldn't do anything. It's kind of what you need to do in that matchup, unfortunately. Round six, I hit another very good player, former world champion. What's his name?
Jesper Erickson.
Jesper Erickson. Awesome dude, I will say. One of my favorite people I played. He gave me a Danish like Zin after the match, and yeah. So
That's so
like
funny.
we were talking about because Mike came over to the table because Mike played him before too, and he was like, "Dude, he's got these," and then we were playing, and they're like 10 milligram nicotines, and I'm like, "Dude, I was walking around the convention center like, holy shit, dude, I am buzzing right now. It was nuts." Um,
That's
then
amazing.
so now I'm 4-2-1 at this point, and I then get into this guy Nettie. I don't know his last name, Czech Republican player. I think he's also one of the top Czech players. He's playing Hydreigon. I'm looking across. I see Jesse Parker at these tables. Another really top player, and I'm like, man, here we all are, top players, and me, and you know, he was able to squeak out the game one, game two. I Roxanned him into boss, and it was just, I hate my life.
Man,
ETO'd
disruption's a
me.
lie.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, game, and then that was round eight. I don't really remember anymore, man. No, 4-2-1.
That would have been round 8. Yeah, that would have
That
been
was
round
round
8.
eight. Yeah. So then round nine, I went to Lugia, this Greek player. He was like kind of new to the game. I beat him 1-0 very easily. And I'm not going to lie, it's really ignorant and arrogant for me to say. And I'm kind of mad at myself for this because I'm not that type of player. But I completely checked out and just was going through the motions. And he ended up beating me 2 games. And I was like, wow, I deserve that completely. I should have absolutely won this, and I was a little mad at myself afterwards. But regardless, I was 4-0, and then I was 4-1-1 at one point, and did not make day two. So listen, I'll wrap it up with this, Kyle. I'm very proud of myself, and I appreciate what you said too, and everything that our friend said. Like, I did play very well, and it's by far the best I've played in any major, and I have a lot to be proud about. But man, does it sting, brother! Like, it just feels so bad to be in that point. Like, after 4-0, I was like, no one can beat me. I was like, give me Tord Reckliffe right now. He can't beat me. No one can beat me right now. Like, literally, I was 8-0 going into, and then I won my next game. I was 9-0. I thought for sure, I'm like, I'm winning this freaking tournament. Like, who's gonna beat me right now? And you know, unfortunately, I got some really crazy pairings. And the crazy thing is, I think what worked in my favor is that I didn't know who these people were, you know?
Sure.
So, like, I'm not looking at them like, oh God, here we go. I'm just like playing them. I'm like, this guy's really good. They really, because like, even like, what's his name? Erickson, Jesper, right? I had a single Pidgey on the board, right? And he goes turn two after going first. I couldn't get any Pokemon out on my first turn. So turn two, he goes Badoo Lock, and then I can't do anything. So I pass 2 turns with just a Pidgey on the board. I feel like most players are like, all right, let's take the Donk game one, right? Because he evolves all in Dracloak, and then I can't do anything again. Turn three, you just win, right? No, he's better than most of us. And he's like, I'm just going to Badoo Lock you for the next 4 turns because if you don't concede, you're just taking time off the clock and it's just going to be easier way for me to win. And I didn't realize that in like while it was happening, that correct thing to do is just concede there, go to game two, go second, get Arvin Trolley set up and go for like the win to get a tie. But this is the things that you learn when you play top players. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that people um don't understand. It's not something you can teach someone until you've like been in a scenario like that. Like once you're at the top tables, um, I think our friend of the podcast, Brad Brown, has mentioned this multiple times that like the real tournament doesn't start, once you get like 3-4 rounds into this and you're at like the higher tables.
Yeah.
You're playing a lot of robots in the first like 2-3 rounds of these regionals. You're gonna pair into you might pair into dads. You might pair into like people that have only been playing for a couple months. The verbiage that people like to use around these parts is potatoes. You might get a couple.
Yeah.
You might get a few potatoes early in
And
the
like I
day, but
and now I do feel bad saying that because we're all potatoes. Like now that I'm like I've noticed that we've played like these players like and like like these players that I beat that I'm like, oh my god, I'm unstoppable. Now I look back at it and I'm like, okay, maybe I should be doing this all the time now. And like I look back and when I wasn't doing it, this I've been having better starts. It's really hard to do, man. It really is. So
yeah,
it gave me a lot more respect for the game. I think
yeah.
overall.
And also to go back on what you talked about earlier in your last round where you just kind of like checked out. That's also like an incredibly under like talked about part of these competition states is that like you played out all 9 rounds and at that point you're not you know that you're were you in contention for points if you won your last round? Would you have gotten points there?
Well, I was contesting for points, and I just like didn't care really.
Yeah.
To be
It's
honest.
tough. It's tough to be that locked in for that long. And I'd say it's something even I still struggle with. is just like when to at one point do I allow myself to just like check out, because it feels like even if I like take like jump out of it for a second, like fatigue is gonna hit me like a truck. Like I'm someone that like, at least that's something that I struggle with in these long tournament days, that like I get very fatigued and like I'll just make stupid mistakes. I made a lot of those in San Antonio, just because I was gassed, and that's on me, to try to figure out. So
Yeah, I hear you. I hear that. And like the thing is, too, like I won the first game so convincingly that was like I should be in day two. And I went into this mindset that quite honestly, I feel like isn't me, you know? And I'm like not proud to like talk about, but like it was like very arrogant. I was like, oh, like I have this in the bag. And then I stopped paying attention. Next thing I know, I lose the next two matches. So
you wanted the autopilot. That's
I did.
that yeah. But listen, we have these conversations to, it's easier to look at these things, 20 20,000 miles above, or however many days we are removed from this now. So um like we said, it stings, but this won't be the last time. You've shown that you can hang with the best of them, man. And you put in a lot of work going into this. It should not be understated, and you did it with a deck that you're very comfortable with. So I think if that also adds fuel to the fire, it's like, hey, listen, like, if there's a deck that you have been playing for X amount of time, and someone tries to talk you out of it, like the week before the tournament, just go with your gut. If that deck you've been playing going into the regionals United Wings, and someone tries to tell you, that's all you know how to play that. Um,
Yeah, and I'll also just add one last thing. Like, I didn't play a single locals or challenge or cup, like anything locally with Charizard before this.
no, you didn't.
I played Guardian, I played Dragapult, but I also think that helped me a lot
Yeah,
playing the other lists and knowing that, like, hey, if I land on Charizard, I know that deck. I played it to every single major. I don't really need to get the reps. I have the reps. I know the
yeah.
lines. It's fine. Um, so I think that's actually what helped me the most, if I'm being honest.
Well, regardless, like us, like we mentioned, I'm proud of you for the heart you showed, and the work you put in. And now you just have to win Atlanta. That's all it really boils
Yeah,
down
but
to.
now I'm going into Atlanta and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to play because Charizard's definitely off the board. I don't have a safety net, and I'm going to have to try a lot of decks, and I'm actually excited for that.
Yeah, we could talk about that in the later weeks leading up, but we cannot go without giving a shout out to another friend of the show. Also, Mike made another day too, so good on him. I think Mike just finished at a top 64 also. Um, so ran it back with Charlie Zard again. No surprise there. Mike is continuing on a very impressive streak after an impressive weekend in San Antonio. Big shout outs to the boy Harrell getting that first limitless page. I'm not kidding when I say I have it hanging on my fridge right now. I printed out his list and I hung it on my fridge
That's
because I'm proud.
amazing.
Yeah, because that's my guy. I'm proud of him, and
And it's not even like he snuck into day two. He went 7-1-1.
yeah,
So
that's that. And with a deck that's like he played gouging fire. He was pretty unsure what he was going to play going into the weekend. I think it was between that and Cloth. And spoiler alert, Cloth might have not have been that bad of an idea.
yeah,
But gouging fire seemed to work well for him. I don't know what his matchup spread was, but I did pull up his list, and there's some interesting stuff in here that I was a little surprised by. The Gravity Mountain was a nice touch. Uh, Obviously, I think that will help those matchups that are annoying for you, the stage two matchups, which I imagine Dragapult's not fun. I imagine that Charizard's not fun. Gardevoir's not fun. Um, but the deck is interesting. Every time I've tried to play this deck, it's like trying to perform brain surgery, and I don't like it. But there's a very high skill or floor with this deck, and Harrell's very good. So I'm glad he was able to make this one work.
yeah. There was another thing that he included last second. I'm forgetting what it is right now.
I'm seeing the black belts training. That looks like
No,
the
he
weird one.
he he had. I think he had that in there already.
I see true trekking shoes, so he had to have cut another shoes for something else. So
Yeah, maybe it was black belt, But shout out to at Leafy Camo, Dallas. Also somebody that's newly acquainted with us, hooked us up with some dual specs before the tournament, which was awesome because I didn't realize that those aren't international. They only sold it in the U.S.
Mm.
So I would have been stuck playing with Dragon Shields, which I hate. So that was pretty clutch. But he also was playing Gouging Fire and gave Harrell these inside tips, which obviously helped him out tremendously.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for Harrell. Again, his day two didn't go great for him. A couple of bricky games and some tough matchups for him, but Terrell started the weekend at number 3 in his rating zone. It was really cool seeing him on an official Pokemon graphic with his name on there. So, very happy for him. And we were able to also convince him to go to Atlanta too. So, the grind continues. And then we have to grind for who's going to get Harrell's second spectator pass for Worlds, because I want to go to Disneyland. So,
I
uh,
mean, I don't have to go. I'm good. I'm gonna go on my own.
you
So
should just win Atlanta.
I mean, listen, if I max out my locals, do well regionals and nationals, I have a chance. Is it a good chance? No. Is there a chance? Yes.
I see a number 125 written all over your face right now, pal. You just spike a regional. It's fine. We'll
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
figure it
we'll
out.
we'll try.
But yeah, shout out to Harrell. Shout out to the gang. Everybody seemed to did really well. I know Emily played Maridon. I haven't got a chance to talk about
I
how
think
her
she
weekend
was.
went.
I think she went 4 or 5-4 or 5-3-1, something like that, somewhere in that range.
Yep, the boy Charlie got points, I believe. So
Charlie got 120 points. Yep, did
good on
did
him.
fairly well. Almost made day two.
Shout out to Chuck. Good on him. But yeah, I watched a lot of. I was pretty locked in over the weekend. It's hard to like. I forgot how hard it is to watch these ICs sometimes because they're 3 days. So like, I'm trying to do like actual work at my job on Friday, and I actually had to like do work on Friday because my boss was out, so I was in charge. So I couldn't just like fuck around and just like watch Pokemon on my computer all day.
Yeah, but
So
but also the stream starts what, round three, so it's like 7 a.m. here.
Yeah, that's true. So it's like the middle of the day. So I was able to catch the ending rounds by the time I got home. Um, but quite the weekend. Um, there's a lot of talking points here, and I think it has to start with the Masters finals. Uh, really, it was a fun top 8 to watch. Granted, like 2 of those games were incredibly anticlimactic. Finals was between Ryuki Okada, who was a regional champ this season. He won the Dortmund regional championships earlier in the year in Europe. Going up against Natalie Miller, she's been one of the best players in Australia for forever. She got 7th at NAIC. She got top 8 at NAIC last year. She just missed out on top 8 at in Perth. I think a few weeks ago in Australia. She's been one of like the best players in Oceania for a long time. Um, and Ryuki came out on top. I don't know how much of the playback you actually watched, but Ryuki won 2 of the games in donks. Natalie started Pheasantipity pass in the first game, got knocked out by Claw for weakness. Game 2, Natalie wins with some pretty like clever board positioning. Was able to take 5 prize cards in one turn, which is very impressive. And then Ryuki opts to go first. Natalie can only get down a single Dreepy, and then you get poison donked because your only hope is that the Pecharunt is prized at that point, and Ryuki started with the Hisuian Heavy Ball in hand, so it was kind of a null and
It
it
doesn't
was
it
null and
doesn't even
void.
matter if they go second and the Petron is prize. You just go to Badu.
Right, but I'm just saying Ryuki went first, and Natalie couldn't was only
Oh,
she
he went
only
for
had one.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
he
I
opted to
didn't.
go first because Natalie only had one Pokemon to start. She couldn't like stop herself from getting donked there, so it was tough. It was both those games were incredibly quick, but yeah, Ryuki came out on top with the I it was an interesting choice. Cloth Terapagos, a deck that has been looked at by many. It's been deemed okay by the masses. Struggles into Gardevoir. Your Lugia matchup is pretty suspect, but um, given the meta call for the weekend where Dragapult was going to be very popular, I think this deck was not a bad choice given that circumstance. And looking at his list, it has the very interesting choice of Monkey Dorian and Darkness Energy. Didn't really see that come to fruition at all during either of the three games. But Double Badoo, the Kieran's a nice touch here. You have any thoughts on Cloth? Rising to the mountaintop here.
Yeah, I didn't want to see Cloth all weekend. I mean, I like it's scary as shit. I mean, it's just so aggressive with Squawkabilly and Carmine, especially if you like. I think he did start the Rangu game three too. They started
Yeah,
Rangu, you just kind of
you win.
you win. Yeah, it's over. Yeah, there's not really much to say. Like it's just very aggressive deck. The reason why I think it's so good is because you have the donk ability, and then on top of it, you can now just have a really strong deck that you see most of your deck really fast. So
Yep.
yeah, it's busted. I don't know.
It
It's
feels pretty disingenuous to call this a cloth deck still because it feels much more like a Terapagos like poison box deck. Um Terapagos does like unlock things for this deck that like cloth by itself did not have before. You just have
well,
some more
area
reliable.
zero.
Yeah, Area Zero obviously like opens up a lot of realm. It opens up a lot of doors for this deck, but also you have like a much more like reliable like primary attacker. Um, Terapagos just being able to do 220, 240 to stuff is like very effective. You do 260 with the Mochi, then you add the damage multipliers on top of that. You can hit some pretty fun numbers here. I think Ryuki was also playing a black belt. No, he wasn't playing a black belt. He was playing the Kieran instead. But they both accomplished basically the same thing. You just add some extra damage onto the end of your
Yeah,
attacks that are already
you can
strong.
do 320
Yeah, it's
with
possible.
with Tropicos, Mochi, Poison, Sneasler, Kieran. You're doing 320, so you can knock out Dragapult.
Yeah,
Which
which
you
is huge.
need to be able to do it, right? Or you can't play
Yeah,
in this tournament. So that's what I mean. Like it's really aggressive, but then like if you don't get the dunk, it's still really strong. And that's why I personally didn't want to see it. It's like, especially if you're a good cloth player or whatever poison box player you want to say, it's not fun, man. Like the scary thing is like we went to a cup before this, and on Sunday before UIC, and I played against this deck, and I only opened one basic, and I was like, please just don't do it, and I was like, please don't be cloth. Like this, I knew there was going to be a lot of cloth, and then sure and behold, it was. I lost in 20 seconds, but
yeah,
it's a good deck.
it's tough. But looking at Natalie's list real quick, it's pretty run of the mill. There's an extra lance in here. There's an extra Dusclops in here. So you go 3, 2, 1 with your ghost line. Obviously you play one of the Badoos. Temple of Sinnoh is your stadium of choice. It helps you against Lugia, which fell flat on its face this weekend. But also it helps into Terapagos as well. It forces them to have to engage with the stadium in some capacity.
Well, it helps a
Uh,
lot against a lot of things. There's a lot of special energy out there being played more than
there is, yeah.
in a lot of decks. So
So
especially jet energy too.
yeah, double
So
turbo energy is still very prominent
right.
in a lot of decks. So it's a very effective stadium choice. Natalie also played the same 60 as Ethan Heggie. Heggie made day 2 this weekend after missing out on San Antonio, so didn't have
Yeah,
quite the run that he
I,
wanted. But
I ran into him when I was talking to Michael, and he was there, and he was like, "Oh, how you doing?" I'm like 4-1. He's like, "Man, you've been grinding, huh?" It was like kind of like a backhand thing, but also a proud moment because he used to go to FTG, and when I was a real potato, like he was like, "Wow," he's like, "Good for you," like he was like kind of surprised, but like surprised in a good way. So like
yeah,
I kind of was like, "Yeah, man, I'm up here, dude." Like,
he had a whole wheel of cheese. I'm
yeah.
not even mad. I'm impressed.
Yeah. So, yeah, shout out to him. I don't know if they coincided with this list beforehand or if it was by chance. Because
I
quite
think they
honestly,
worked on it together. They worked on it together.
okay,
So
because I was gonna say like it's not crazy to for two people to come up with this list. It's
yeah,
still pretty run of the mill. So
yeah. I think the ex. I think there's an extra. No, the third Iono seems normal. Like I said, it seems like a pretty like cut and dry like run of the mill. This deck is just that good. Like you just get your consistency cards up. You get into Drakloak. You're playing a full fourth line of the Drakloak. You're seeing so many cards per turn. It's just good. This deck is certainly a force to be reckoned with, and I think we can kind of talk about like the other highlights of the tournament. At least what I thought was a highlight for sure, and that the was my good friend coming to the fray here. Uh, a big weekend for Golden Go, George. I put it here in the Google Doc. You can tell I really worked hard on this Google Doc this weekend.
yeah,
I'm like in
this
my
is
hotel room
the
back.
most
So
organized one I've ever seen by you. So
yeah, trying to take up his job a little bit more seriously.
good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 10 Golden Goes in top 64, and six of them playing the same 60. The highest placing one being Xander Pero. Um, but also have to highlight the Golden God himself, Yelly Van Kampen. His Limitless page is just gorgeous because it's just all Golden Go. This man has made so much money playing the money Pokemon. It's hilarious. But a big weekend for Golden Go in both of its capacities, whether it's just the Golden Go by itself or the Golden Go with Palkia. um, I don't know if you've taken a look at either the list here, George, but I watched Xander's stream match, and I think it makes sense. I feel like I'm kind of mad at myself for not seeing this as a valid option, because on paper, Golden Go made a lot of sense, and I guess other people thought the same thing.
Um, I think the craziest thing is it's not mentioned here because he played a different list, but Henry Chow played Golden Go.
Yeah,
So,
that's crazy.
which I was kind of mad about, dude. I was like, damn, bro, give us the Guardy list. What the hell, you know? And we actually saw him in the airport, and Harrell was like, yeah, he's here. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to play this Guardy list, man. And then I found out he was playing Goldengo, and I was like, man, come on, dude. Like, why are you doing this to us? Right? Because I was like, he's gonna win with Guardy this weekend, And yeah, I think that was my biggest takeaway from the Goldengos. Obviously, you also had the whole Twitter fiasco with Isaiah Bradner. I don't know if we
Yeah, that
want to talk
was.
about that or not, but
We don't have to. It's just people are just so bloodthirsty for no reason.
I would
It's
just say
it's
like he seems like a nice enough guy that like for someone to get so much hate, like I don't know him personally. When I saw that and then I saw people like redacting it, I was like, why are we doing this? But yeah, we don't have to talk about it.
my
It's just
biggest my the only thing I'll say about that is that like there's like real problem people in this community, and like people are just so bloodthirsty to like harp on things that really aren't that important in the long haul, that like we really shouldn't do that in place of acknowledging real problems. But
right, because
that's all
like
we can say about
because like
that.
my thing about it is this, and I'll just leave it at this, right?
Yeah.
If he did do something like that, right? Why do you care at all, right? Like, okay, he did something like that. I'm still going to sleep at night, going to my job, and like not caring about it all. Because here's at the end of the day, if people are going to do stuff like this, it's going to catch up to them, right?
Hmm.
And for some
Yep.
people that put so much work into this game, if they are going to cheat and do stuff and get it taken away from them, it's going to be more damaging than people calling them out or calling them a cheater on Twitter. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, like, I don't know. Maybe everybody just needs to wake up a little bit and realize that like hating on other people is just a really bad look
Witch
on
hunts are never
you.
worth it.
Right. Like on you as a person hating, that's more on you than anybody else. And like honestly, you're just kind of validating other people's greatness. And like
Hmm.
quite honestly, we're all competing. You're not going to EYC as somebody from North America if you don't think you have a chance to do well. And if you
Yeah.
gotta hate, like you already lost the battle in my eyes. So shout out to people being losers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like not cool.
Real rat. But yeah, Bradner also played the same list as Xander. And again, like you mentioned, like the fact that this deck was on the radar of like so many of like the top testing groups, like Henry Chow, two-time regional champ this season. Already has his World's Invite locked up when opted to play Goldengo this weekend. Rahul, ready after to play Goldango this weekend. So this deck was clearly I missed something here
Yeah.
as to what made this deck such a good option. And I just think being able to draw cards is huge. I think after I've played around with the third place list a bit, I think the technical machine evolution is very strong. I think being able to those games where you're operating under item lock, I think that's very important. Being able to get into your Goldengos, being able to draw some more cards. I don't think that the Palkia version is bad either. You still have the option to attack with Greninja, obviously. Canceling Cologne is big into those bad matchups that you have into stall. But you're bad, and yeah, because your other bad matchup is Cloth, but that doesn't really help you here either. But I think the deck is just strong. I think being able to knock out Dragapult in one hit is very appealing to people, and drawing cards is good. The Monkey Dory, I think, was another fun wrinkle as well. It does help correct like very important math on Dragapult and Charizard. It makes it so that you have to use only 6 energies versus 7 energies. There's also it's also good at knocking out Badoo if you're getting Badoo locked for a few turns. It actually happened to Xander on his stream game against James Cox. He monkey doried to knock out a Badoo, and he got a Goldengo off the prize cards and helped them draw more cards. So it was pretty sick. I think the monkey dory was technology I was sleeping on for a bit, but I think that I'm as a Goldengo enjoyer, I'm very satisfied. I think this deck has always been kind of looked at as like a fringe meme good deck, and now I think it's going to be looked at as a serious like meta threat for the next few tournaments.
Well, I'll just say about it real quick is all the good decks play Arvin.
It's true.
All the good
Arvin
decks
kind of
play
busted.
Arvin. You got to play Arvin.
The only thing that's a little like I have to point it out, the TM evolution lists are playing 2 water energies, and I feel like that's like under like the 1% chance for like you start Greninja and you're getting Badoo locked and you can just like double attach to like 2 water energies. Uh, I don't know how often that might have came up or not, but it's a cute wrinkle. Raiding Greninja is still one of the best attacking Pokemon in the game right
I
now.
think it's
So
also like a fake out kind of like,
yeah,
oh, maybe I'm playing Palkia. You don't know what I'm
it's true.
playing.
Yeah, it's
So
possible.
yeah.
The
Kind of
other
like
thing.
how Lost Box used to do that. Remember?
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, it's interesting. I guess it also forced them to like start attacking you versus like just sitting there. Like you see that second water energy come down, you're like, you start sweating, bro. You start tweaking out. Like
No one likes
Kabu's,
to get Greninja, right? So
it feels so bad. Getting Moonlight Shuriken is like a bottom 5 feeling in the world, man. It absolutely stinks.
yeah,
Sometimes Harrell does it to you, and he board wipes all your gimme ghouls. I'm not mad about it. It's fine. I'll be
yeah,
fine.
he's a loser.
He's a loser. The other thing I wanted to point out, everyone's favorite deck, Snorlax Stall, popped off real hard this weekend. 3 decks in top 16, and 2 of them made top cut. The one I have highlighted here is the 6th place list, and they are opting for the boxed order plus Rotom build. Um, I'm a certified not. I get it. It makes sense as to why this deck was why it was so good. You look at like the decks that are like very strong right now, decks like Maridon and they're or decks that aren't really playing a lot of switching cards because Latias is a thing that helps you get around. So cards like Snorlax, decks like Snorlax are gonna have their place in the meta, but it's not fun. I see my opponent flip over a Snorlax. I'm not having a good time.
Which is really good to it's in charge if you go first.
Yeah.
And then honestly, if you knock out the Rotom, you get 2 prizes. You're like, great. Now I have counter catcher available all game. So you stink. Um, Cornerstone was really annoying. No one likes to deal with Cornerstone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not fun.
this deck sucks. Like it's really annoying. I'm
I
happy
will
I didn't see
say
any.
I will say the other stall list that made top 8 is slightly more interesting. It's playing the enriching energy as its 8th spec, um, which when you attach a card from your hand, you can draw 4 cards. So it's just more hand presence for you to have. It's playing the Milotic from Twilight Masquerade, where you opponents in your opponent's Pokemon in play and attached cards can't be put into your hands, so they can't be turrowed out of the active. They can't be super scoop up. Uh, it's just it's again it's a certain it takes a certain player to kind of lock in with a deck like this. And in the right metagame, you're going to find a lot of success, and clearly that seemed to be the case here.
Do you
So
know how disgusting it probably is to go counter catcher is row six Temple of Sinnoh?
machinations, yeah,
Yeah.
terrible.
No. Yeah. GG's. See you later.
Yeah,
Because
GG's. I'm going to eat some beans, bro. Like,
if I go play Jet and I get his Roses, and then you like look at your hand like I got to keep the Jets or I lose, and they're like, oh, by the way, Temple of Sinnoh.
tongue wrap.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Right. It's
Yeah,
the same thing. Like,
insane stuff. Uh, last I think talking point I had written down here was to talk about the seniors finals, which is actually very good. Gabriel Fernandez, probably the best like junior and seniors player on planet Earth, won a third IC, I believe.
him and his brother are both just disgusting at the game.
They're insane prodigies. They're both insane. Vinny Fernandez got top 8 with the same list that his brother did. They're playing just a straight Dragapult deck with
Well, no,
Fezandipity
they're
and
playing
Ursaluna,
Klefki.
and they're playing a Klefki, true. So they're opting to not go with the Ghost build, I think is what I was trying to get at. And they're playing a Defiance Vest, which is actually kind of heat. And Unfair Stamp. I really like this list a lot. It's
There,
very intuitive.
there was a lot of Defiance Fest going around in the UIC. A lot of people are playing it. It's underrated card. Unfair Stamp also instead of Sparkling Crystal, pretty damn good.
I know Tordo is also playing that too. That's Unfair Stamp was in his Dragapult list as well. It's an intuitive list. I'm into it. It was a fun finals between him and Nathan Osterkatz. Nathan also a very accomplished senior, but I just needed to pull up Gabriel's Limitless page here. He got first at the World Championships as a senior in 2023. He got first the net following season at the Sao Paulo at the LAIC. Got first at EUIC. This season, he's won 2 regionals and also won LIAC again. Got top 8 as a senior in San Antonio and won this weekend. It absolutely insane run. And he's still and once he ages up in a Masters, man, it's gonna be a bloodbath. This kid's gonna go places, man.
You think he's pretty good?
He's pretty good.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
pretty good.
I agree with
I
that.
think coldest take of the afternoon is that he's pretty good.
Good player. Good player.
Yeah. So that I don't know if you have any other lasting thoughts on the tournament this weekend, George. You know, you were there, but you know,
I will say that the Excel London is gigantic. Um, they had a bar inside of it, so that's always good for them. The food in the venue was actually really good, even though I didn't really eat. I know people that did eat. You would have had a field day in between rounds.
I was gonna say, I love me some mid round snacks.
Yeah, they had some good stuff. The coffee centers, right? I mean, it was just really nice. The check-in experience was not long. NIC can take a lot of notes. Um, what else? Pokemon Center, I heard was a little bit of a shit show, but I didn't hear too many horror stories. Everything was pretty much wiped out. I just need to get my double deck box. I don't really care about anything else. The mat was cool. The promo was very good. So we have that to look forward to NIC. It is Buddy Buddy Puffin.
Oh, that's heat.
Yeah, money. Um, what else? Is there anything else about the tournament that I'm missing? Nope, I think that's it.
Cool.
Oh,
So
it's
that
it's actually really accessible for the tube as well, the train. It's literally the last station on the Elizabeth line. So
nice.
it was like I wish I knew that going in because I would have picked a different location for the Airbnb. But I liked where we stayed anyway. So
How was the Airbnb? Was there ants in this one?
no, it was really small though. It was really small. That was a problem.
Maybe it's like perfect size for like European people, and you Americans are just far too big.
Yeah, no, it's just really small. It like didn't have a living room at all. So it was just a kitchen and two bedrooms and a bathroom.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm glad you guys had fun. I'm glad you guys got back in one piece. Did you went to Spud Bros, didn't you?
Yeah, we went to Spud Bros. I lost rock paper scissors to get a free meal. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I was pretty upset about
how's the
that.
potato?
Surprisingly, we just got the classic bean and cheese. One person, if you finish that, you're a freaking animal. Honestly, it's a lot. It's a
It
lot of
looks so
potato.
big on the videos.
Yeah, it's huge, man. It's a lot of food. Long line though. I don't know. Listen, they got it going on. They're viral. Like they know what they're doing marketing wise. Like, dude, it's really not that good though. It's a potato. Like it's a potato with beans and cheese, and then they put crispy onions on it. Like I'm talking about like the
Yeah,
like come in a can,
yeah,
and
the onion straws.
and then they have a sauce that's like their signature sauce. This shit is chipotle mayo, bro. Like you know, so like all those things together is good, right? Like potato, cheese, beans, chipotle mayo, fried onions. I get it. It's only £9 too, so which is pretty cheap for. It's just kind of expensive if you think about it for what it is.
It is, yeah. Did you
Yeah.
go to the British Applebee's, or did you just take a picture of it?
I just took a picture. It was a seafood place. It was a fish and chips place. I couldn't.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Did they know?
Do they know that we're eating good in the neighborhood here?
Did they have
Or,
chicken wonton tacos here? Or like,
yeah.
I laughed way
No,
too hard at that picture when you sent it. It
I
was
just
very
couldn't. I
funny.
couldn't believe my eyes. I was looking at it. I was like, "Holy shit!
It was so funny.
They have Applebee's here." No, that was right next to the Borough Market. So like, we obviously didn't eat there because we ate at the market. But that was funny to see. And then yeah, the George Inn was right by there too.
That was very funny too.
Yeah, I got a shirt. I got a shirt.
Oh, there was like I think Rob sent us a picture of like the pairings when you got paired into Mateus, and like all five people on like right next to your name were all named George, or like some variation of George.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was so funny. It was like five. It was like you, and you were like sandwiched in between like four other Georges,
That's
and
so weird.
I was like, wow, that is like the most British thing that could have possibly happened to you. Like
Yeah, that is
it was
funny.
uh
I didn't know that because obviously you just look at your pairings.
Yeah, of course. It was really funny. That's the first. I mean, I think Rob might have been sending it just like this. So I don't know if he was sending it to show us that you got paired into a regional champion, or that you were sitting next to five people with the same name as you. Either way, it was very funny.
Yeah, shout out to Rob though. He was clutch all weekend, man. He really held it down. Me and him went to the birth of Iron Maiden, which is
Yeah, that looked pretty cool.
yeah, he's a big Iron Maiden fan. So we tied one on. Me and Rob just stayed at the bar by ourselves. That was pretty cool. Then we went to the Ted Lasso bar as well, where all like the scenes of the movie and the alleyway is the same. Like it's where they shoot everything there. Got the
That's
picture on
so.
the bench, like at the end. That was like my favorite thing, to be honest with you. Went to the Ted Lasso store, got a really cool what's his name sticker. Ross, what's his name?
Oh yeah, I know the guy you're talking about, like the guy with the beard. I forget what his name is.
What is his name? It's gonna drive me crazy. He's here, he's there, he's every fucking where. Something Ross. What?
Danny Ross.
John Ross?
I think it's
That's Danny Rojas.
Danny Rojas.
Oh, now
I know it's Burt Goldstein that plays him. Are you talking about? Oh, Roy Kent.
Roy Kent, not
There
Ross.
you go. You weren't even close.
Roy Kent. Roy
Roy
Kent.
Kent.
He's here. He's there. He's every. I'm putting that right on my deck box. It's 6 sticker.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can transition into the last part of our show today. This week's edition of Squawk Seas, everybody's favorite this or that question game. I couldn't really think of a like interesting one this week, but I figured this would be like the best time to talk about this. We're both done going to regionals between now and rotation. Um, so I think we can kind of look at like the cards that we're going to be losing in their and we can squawk them as whether they will be remembered fondly, or we can seize them as like, is anyone really going to give a shit if these cards when they go away? So I don't know. It was kind of like I used a lot of my brain power putting the doc together, and I couldn't really think of anything else interesting.
I
So
think it's a good one, man. This is I think it's going to be a good list. There is lists out there that show this too. So
yep, I think so. And again, while we get our ducks in a row, thank you to everyone that's been checking out the content, both on the podcasting platforms and as well as YouTube. I want to. We broke again. We broke 50 subscribers on a YouTube channel. I want to try to get that to 100 by the end of the year. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and click the notification bell so you guys get notified of when we're putting stuff up. Obviously we have the podcast, but every now and then we like to sprinkle in some other content. Could be I was thinking about doing a video at the midnight pre-release for Journey Together uh, next month, but I say that as if it's like not gonna. I thinking like March is forever away. It's gonna be March this Saturday, which is insane. February, I understand it's the shortest month of the year, but it goes by way too freaking fast.
yeah, um, yeah. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, I can't believe it. I can't. It's gonna be my birthday in 2 weeks.
Oh my god, we should. What are we gonna do?
I don't know. I was kind of thinking about it. Probably go to strip club. No, I'm just kidding.
Be funny if we did though.
I,
Uh,
I, I have a good I have a list ready here, and I know which one I'm going to save the ones for you because compare them together. Your loved uh, ones, but I got a top 20 list here. It's on YouTube. I could scroll through it. So there's some good ones. There's some good ones. There's some really notable cards.
yeah, so I think I'll get the gravy train rolling here. We'll talk about this again. This is our in memoriam section. We'll squawk or sees this card's impact in the game. Um, I'm gonna go with one that I think is gonna be a lot more impactful that than people think. Squawk or sees the impact that losing Rotom V is gonna have.
So I don't think it's gonna like. I agree with you. It's gonna be impactful, but I am gonna seize it because I think already we're seeing a lot more two prize bench sitters that are doing some other stuff. Are still going to be um, optimal for the new archetypes. Obviously, going turn one in Charizard, I love Rotom V when I can start it and I could draw 3 cards and then attach another card to it that I won't bring up now that I'll save for the next one because I think that's why it's so good more because it's the one that abuses that card the most, and that's why I think it's like so, it's good because you could draw 3, but like it's also a huge liability. So I am going to seize it for those reasons because it is one of the biggest liabilities. But I think there's even a bigger liability in the format that is more important than Rotom V, if you could get what I'm saying.
I pick up what you're putting down, so I'll
Um,
seize it
that
too. So
that being said, the card that Rotom V likes to abuse the most, and why I think it is so good, and what you're getting at, for Sealstone.
yeah, I think I'm squawking how big of a loss this is going to be for so many decks. Like for Sealstone when it was announced, I think everybody just kind of understood that. Oh no, this card is going to be insanely overtuned. V Star powers were already like you look at some of the best V Star powers in the game, they're insanely broken. So
Yeah.
I think being able to give Pokemon that were already like pretty good V Star powers like Genesect V, like Mew V, giving these Pokemon just more stuff to be able to just cherry pick whatever you want out of the deck. um, it's insane. I think losing that is going to take away a lot of consistency from decks that already play this. It's going to make Arvin, in my opinion, a lot worse than it already is. I think a good chunk of the reason why Arvin is so good is because you can get Forest Sealstone, and Forest
Yeah.
Sealstone just unlocks the rest of whatever you're trying to do.
I mean,
So
trolley trolley for Sealstone has got to be one of the craziest
it's
combinations.
drugs. It's
Yeah,
drugs.
yeah.
It's insane.
So, but like what the point I wanted to make about it too, there wasn't a format that it wasn't good.
Yeah.
There's a couple other cards like that as well that I think will also squawk today, but I think it's going to be missed so much because even if you played a V Star deck, a lot of the times some of the V Star powers weren't as good as Force Seal Stone, and there was a time where it was still played, and you could do either or, right?
Mhm.
Secondly, it was so good when EX Pokemon came out, and then when VMAX Pokemon were still in there, because like what you just said, it gave them a better V Star power that they weren't able to use, and kind of what they were missing. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's probably one of the best cards printed in this format.
I am so mad that like I played Mew VMAX for as long as I did, and it was back when 4 Seal Stones were like 10, $12 a pop. And I am so thankful that I bought so much Silver Tempest, I was able to pull 2 of them. So I only ended up having to buy 1 because if it was a 3 of or a 4 of in every Mew deck you played, and I'm just like, oh my god. Yeah, it's we're hanging that one up. We're retiring that number, man. That's going up in the
Yeah,
rafters. Like,
it's one of the best cards printed. I think maybe it might have been best. Uh, I think maybe with the one you go next, or one that I go next, might give it a run for its money. But I'll let you go, and we'll move forward here.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but
yeah. It's
R.I.P.
gonna be
for
it's gonna be
Sealstone.
tough. So I'm gonna go next with a card that I think again these all kind of play in conjunction with each other. A card that is it's thankless. It does its job very well. We're always kind of looking for it and whenever we need it, sometimes it's there, and sometimes it's prized. Luminion V, I think,
Yeah,
is the much more impactful V Pokemon. Granted, we're losing all of them, so like they're one is not more important than the other in this situation, but losing Luminion is going to hurt hard. So I'm going to squawk the impact that I'm just going to give the answer from how I feel. I'm squawking the impact that this one's going to feel.
yeah, I'm squawking it too, and that's the reason why I had to seize Rotom V, is because if you're looking at it for like the impactful basic V support Pokemon, Luminion V is by far more um, impactful in a game than Rotom. Going to get any supporter, then you could also attach Force Seal Stone to it. Then also, like the best part about it is when you collapse it away, and then you can put it back into your deck, and then find it again off of Ultra Ball when you need it. Like
Yeah,
it was. I mean, listen, it also like I was saying, one of the best cards printed, and no surprise why it was put into the toolkit when it was. Um, very similar to Squawkabilly, where it's low HP. It had to be such a liability for it, for being so overpowered that it was.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm squawking it as well. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, again, we've seen it time and time again. Luminion for boss is just so synonymous with like how important this card was. I think being able to cherry pick supporters out of your deck is just it can't be understated how good that is. And again, the decks are able to utilize Luminion as an attacker too. Being able to do being able to punch something in the active and then take your board liability away only to be able to re-get it again is so insanely good. And like, you mentioned it before with Forest Heals on how like there's never an instance of time when that card was released where that card was ever bad. Luminion was never a bad card to include in your deck. At any given point in time. So it's great. It's got some of the best alternate arts in the game, in my opinion. I've been using the Crown Zenith Luminions in my Lugia deck since the beginning of time. That card is so pretty. I'm gonna miss that fish so bad, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna miss her so bad.
that's not the 1 pound fish. That's a 6 for 5
That's the
pound
say,
fish.
yeah. Very, very good. Very, very cheap.
Very, very good. Next one I want to bring up, I think might have been the best card in format for a long time. By far the best of its archetype or mechanic, Radiant Greninja.
Yeah, that's a huge squawk first ballot Hall of Famer. Like retire the number. It's that's when it's all said and done. When we're dust, when we're 90 years old, still talking about Charizard lists. In the retirement home together. As heads in jars like in Futurama. we will look back at Radiant Greninja and be like, God, what the hell were they thinking? This card is so good. It draws you cards, and it's, since its iteration, it's been one of the best single prize attackers in the game. Being able to just pick off two small resources from your opponent's deck. So many decks are able to utilize this. It's the Radiant Pokemon in general, are obviously gonna be missed, and I do hope that they bring back like that sort of like rule box, the single prize Pokemon in some capacity again. Um, I think we can maybe just kind of talk about the other Radiants here because Greninja, in my opinion, is the one that's leading the charge as the ones we're gonna miss. Uh, but like that guy is
Yeah,
so good.
I think when you have like a trade ability like it does, and it's, um, you know, if it was just anything, it would be really busted. But the reason why I think it was so good in so many decks was getting energy into the discard pile is like such an important part of the game, and it's like it's a perfect card to do that. And then yeah, Moonlight Shuriken, busted attack. The fact that it didn't have to go to the active and you could just snipe around it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's I think it is the best. I think it was the best card in a lot of formats for a long time. So it's gonna be
people look at the Darmanitan where like it's like, oh, it's just like Radiant Greninja, but you don't realize how limiting that attack is when you are forced to do that 90 damage to the active.
yeah.
Like when you Iono someone, you like you counter catch her up like a bench sitter. Bro, I will be chasing the endorphin high of Prime Catcher, canceling Clone, like Radiant Greninja, like Moonlight Shuriken, and two small guys for the rest of my life. I will never that will never not feel like I just like drank six Red Bulls. It's so sick.
It was also so good in Shady Dealings format when you
Yeah.
could just pick it up with Scoop Up Net and then draw more cards. It was like,
So busted.
yeah, it was a crazy, crazy
So
card.
busted. Any other thoughts on the Radiance while we're here? I think the only other run that's like worth talking about is Charizard. Obviously,
Yeah,
like he's
which
that's
I
gonna
would
be
which I would have seized just
I would
because
have seized it too. Yeah.
you have Blood Moon Ursaluna now, which is
Yeah.
same thing.
We have Radiant Charizard at home.
Yeah, it's just a two prizer now.
Yeah, you've been replaced by your cooler and scarier model.
But it's also better than Radiant Charizard because you don't need a fire energy, so
Yeah. You can attack for free.
you can attack for free.
Um Big shout outs to Radiant Charger Bug that made its stream debut at EUIC this weekend. That was so sick.
Did it really?
Yeah, there was a Hisuian Zoroark deck that was playing it this weekend, and I don't know if you're familiar with what Charger Bug does, but it puts a damage counter on your V Pokemon when you attach an energy from your hand. So it coincides very well with Zoroark because you want to have damage counters on to do damage. So
Weird. Yeah, cool.
it's hella weird. Serena played that in Lugia for a while. Still don't understand why.
Yeah.
It's dumb. The radiant Pokemon were cool. I like the shining Pokemon from when they did that like forever ago. I would like to see that sort of like thing come back. Just rebring Radiant Greninja and leave everyone else at home. Let's get Hops Radiant Greninja. How about that?
Yeah. Hob gets everything apparently.
All right, going back to me, we'll make this one a much more like generalized thing as well because I think now we're getting into like whole like engines here. How about the impact that losing the Lost Zone is going to be?
Yeah, so I guess you go a couple together, Mirage Gate, Lost
Comfy,
Vacuum,
Lost Vacuum.
Comfy, Sableye, Lost City,
Which of those do
uh,
you think is going to be the most impactful? Then we'll phrase it that
Lost
way.
Vacuum, Lost Vacuum for sure. So I think I would like Squawk Lost Vacuum. I think Sableye was also a very, very good card that you would be tough to not Squawk. Um, I think the Lost Zone mechanic in general, you squawk the whole thing. But I had to pick one that I would say is the best. I would say Lost Vacuum is the best one. I mean, Mirage Gate's also very good too, right? Let's be honest.
It's
But
busted.
yeah, but I think Lost Vacuum like got the most play. Was the best card out of the Lost Zone mechanic, or a Cramorant too. Cramorant was also very good.
Spitting innocently is so funny.
Yeah.
What a cool guy. I would agree with you. I think like I'll squawk the whole engine as in general because the Lost Zone is like it's so cool. I really fell in love with this deck. Turbo Lost Zone is some of the most fun I've had playing Pokemon in a long time. Um, I think it can't be understated how good this deck archetype was for a while when they printed like immediate direct counters to it. Like Kyurem was basically like a fuck you Lost Zone card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you look at things like the Jirachi they printed to stop damage counters from being spread because getting Sableye at the end of the game for like multiple
Oh
prize
yeah,
cards,
that is right though. Like, sorry to cut you off, but Color's Experiment also a very strong card.
insane.
Yeah.
So much card draw, and you're thinning bad cards out of your deck that you don't want. Like it can't be understated like how big that is. And like with Outlaws Vacuum in format, tool cards are going to be much stronger now. You know, you have no other way to get rid of. You have no item based way to get rid of tools anymore, which
Yeah.
is huge.
Just jamming
Um,
tower.
Yeah, but you can't search out jamming tower. Well, I guess technically you can if you play like the knockdown legend.
And Color's Tenacity and Quick
and
Search.
okay, you made a liar out of me. It's fine.
Nah,
I'm not
it's all
mad
good.
about it.
I like my search
But
cards.
I w- I would say yeah. I think the losing Sableye is a big one. Um, the Lost Vacuum is obviously a big one as well. Rest in peace, Fantina. Nobody gives a crap about that card, but it was funny.
That card's
So
ass.
it's bad. Yeah, I'm gonna miss the Lost Zone. I hope that we don't go another like 8 years without them like reprinting this archetype, like they did the first time. So, uh, I'm gonna miss it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Um, I I never was a big. I started off as a Lost Box player just because I thought it was a cool mechanic and it was really
Trophies,
strong.
baby.
Should have never played it, quite frankly. But speaking of a deck that I did, oh, we also forgot about Giratina. Giratina is also
Oh yeah, forget about it. That
yeah,
card's
that
busted.
Star Requiem busted.
Good night,
Uh,
sweet prince.
um, but what I will say, what I'll move on to, a card near and dear to my heart, Refinement Curlia.
Yeah. That's a big old squawk. That's a Mariano Rivera like unanimous Hall of Famer type deal. It's gonna and I'm it's tough because Gardevoir still looks like it's doing pretty good. I think Gardevoir as a whole is gonna be fine because that's a deck archetype that card is so good on its own that I think all Gardevoirs is a deck that's gonna have to retool a little bit and you'll still be able to like be okay. Like you still have all your attackers. But like you said, it can't be understated just like how good setting up a board of Curlias is and just milling through your deck. That stage one draw support is so huge.
I
So
mean, the tradability is just you know in the game, just one of
drawing
the
cards is good, man.
staples. Yeah,
Drawing
like
cards is good.
well, also discarding cards is also good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna miss refinement, man.
Hold on
Refinement,
to it while you do it while you still can. Announce it while you
refinement,
still can.
refinement, refinement. Uh, Arvin, like busted.
Balloon blast.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna be
Moonblast,
interesting to
Taka.
see.
Monkey, Miracle Force.
It's gonna be interesting to see how Gardevoir survives. I played a little bit of post rotation Gardevoir at locals last week. I gentlemaned with Brad into doing it, and the deck actually feels pretty okay still. I think you still having all your
Sorry.
attackers still makes it like having all your attackers is pretty good, but like now you got to play like like brilliant blender like to get all your energies out of the deck.
Yeah,
Like it
but
just
Lily's
feels bad.
Clefairy is really good, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that card is gonna be like not enough people are talking about just the impact that card's going to have in general. Like Dragon type Pokemon have been unchecked for so long, and that card just existing is going to make the game so much more interesting.
Yeah.
So,
All right, let's go one more each, and then we'll wrap it up here.
do you want me to talk about Lugia, or do you want to do it?
I I was gonna give it to you last. I
All
was
right,
saving
sorry.
it for last.
You go now. So you go now.
All right,
You
so I'll go
take
back to back.
back to back. Yeah.
All right, so obviously there's no surprise if you listen to the show. Kyle is the ultimate Lugia bot, and Kyle Koopa Squawker sees Lugia V Star and Archeops.
I hate Lugia. Sees it. Nah, nah, nah. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Listen. I never leave home without it. I got him.
Yeah.
I got it right next to me at all times. Listen. It can't not be stressed enough. Lugia in like Silver Tempest Lugia is one of the most broken decks of all time. Like 30% of the meta being Lugia. Insane work. This card was a problem to begin with. Everyone knew what was going on. But like it's a deck that it's my pet deck. It's the deck that I really learned to play Pokemon with. I was playing a bunch of rogue meme garbage for so long, and then I started. Then I had stints with Mew, but like I always went back to Lugia. Lugia is it was whenever I was in a rut, I could go back to Lugia. It's a deck I know how to pilot. It's a deck that I should have played in San Antonio that I'm still kind of kicking myself for. It's not always the most enjoyable experience. You're gonna have some games that are just god awful, but I think this deck really was even in the twilight of its life, was still able to be a meta threat to where you had to respect it, and most people didn't respect it because it's Lugia, and when you don't check for a deck that has everything. You're able to attack for consistent damage. You have energy acceleration. You can snipe the bench. You can attack with no energy sometimes. You have single prizers that can offset your prize trade. It can't go and say how good this deck is. I'm gonna miss it. Honest to God, I am. I might get my Lugia cards framed because I am gonna miss this deck so much.
Yeah.
So squawking it, first ballot Hall of Famer, hanging up from the rafters.
I mean, also, I think it should be said, uh, I think Lugia might be the best deck of all time with like its finishes, right?
And it's prime for sure, absolutely.
Yeah. And I got a question for you. Do you think you've played more Lugia or I played more Charizard? It's close
That's tough
nowadays.
because it's tough, yeah. Because I've gone through stretches of Lugia where there's been stretches of time where I don't play Lugia. But you also go through just as long enough stretches where you don't play Charizard. So I don't know. It's tough. It might be close.
It's a good question, right? I just
It's a
thought
very good question. It might be you because you've played it to a few more ICs than I. No, not
I've,
ICs, but you've played it to more regionals than I have.
well,
So
I've also just gone to more too. So
yeah,
like that's kind of I don't know.
yeah, my life
Like,
stinks. It's fine.
well, I'm just saying like I'm not saying it. That I'm just like
No, no, I know.
I don't
I'm
know if
just
that's a
poking fun.
qualifier. You know?
It's tough. It's close. It's really close. We both really love we're one tricks, George. We're losing everything. Like I mean, I'm losing everything. I'm nothing. I'm a shell of myself now. I've lost. She took the house. Rotation took the kids in the house. Man, I got nothing.
So what card do you think I'm going to miss most?
Ooh, that's tough. I'm looking through the list here. I think we've hit a lot of. Have I not said it yet?
No, I think unless like I'm not thinking about it, I think Four Seal Stone is for me. But I'm curious what
I'm
you.
gonna okay. I'm gonna give you one that's I'm looking at like the list of cards here that we're losing. That might be worth talking about here. Let's take a look here. Oh, okay. Here's a fun one. Everybody's uh, everybody's favorite mobile game app, Pokestop.
Yeah, I think that was the only other one. Like I love Pokestop. I used to play Pokestop and Charizard. So um, yeah, I mean definitely Squawk and Pokestop. I mean the Pokestop uh, rescue stretcher or night stretcher, whatever
Busted,
combination was.
so busted.
Oh my god, nothing better.
Turbo decks are really gonna miss. That's not gonna go like understated enough. Like just being able to like mow through your deck like that is so huge. There's definitely some other big ones. Like I'll squawk Pokestop. Like I think being able to just like items are so strong. Just being able to like dig more into your deck is like so huge. Um, it's very it's not going to go stressed enough. Just like how good of a stadium that is. Now, granted, there's
Yeah.
going to be plenty of other good stadiums, but it's tough.
The one last one that I was just gonna say too that we didn't mention, and I know the answer to both of us what we say. Snorlax block.
See ya.
See ya. See you
You're
later.
gone. I don't think I
Wish
own
I
a
never
single
knew
copy
you.
of. Yeah, I'll drive him to the airport myself. Like that's how much I'm not going to miss him. I don't think I own a single copy of Block Snorlax. That's how much I hate the deck.
I can't wait to see the memes on Twitter and then like people like burning the cards and stuff, like ripping them. Like you know, there's going to be people posting that when
I
the
like
card.
the or like the meme format of it's like a 9 block grid, and it's like thank you for everything, not you've done for me. Like,
Not
uh,
you. Get out of the picture. Get out of the
yeah,
picture.
yeah. There's some tough one, man. Raikou obviously is a big one. Like all the V Pokemon, Palkia V Star can't go understated. Another one of the best decks of its time. Hisui and Heavy Ball, like losing that's gonna stink, but like we're getting a pseudo reprint. We're getting like a better, not. Let me rephrase that. We're not getting a better version of it. There's gonna be a way to like check your prize cards in the next coming set. It's a lot like Rotom decks from like way back in the day, but you don't get to like pick and choose. You just take 6 new cards and put it back on top. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. Like the Reggie Drago, like one of the best like late game bloomers of all time. Like that deck is insanely broken. It's gonna, I don't know, man. All the V's, as sad as it is gonna be to lose the Sword and Shield cards, these cards were incredibly overtuned. So it's gonna be nice to kind of go like creep the power level back down a little bit, which is
Yeah.
what it looks like it's gonna happen, which is good.
Yeah.
Tough stuff, man. Rest in
Cool.
peace.
Cool.
I really wanted like how at Highlander. Excuse me. They have like the big like hollow cards of like Palkia V and all. I want to see if they'll sell me the one with Lugia on it because I know they have it, and I kind of want to hang it in my apartment.
I'm sure they will. I
I
don't
might have
know.
to talk to someone that works there. We're gonna
Yeah.
figure something out.
Yeah. I mean, if you ask nice enough,
Yeah,
I
I'll
might just
beg.
give it to you.
Um, that's gonna be it for this week's episode of the show, folks. George, I applaud you for sticking it out. I know you're still probably very tired. But
Yeah, and I'm gonna play post row after this. If you want to join us,
I might hop around. I need you to watch a new episode of Severance. It's so good.
I don't know if I'm gonna get to it tonight, but maybe.
We'll get there.
I don't know when, to be honest.
I might hop in for some post for later. I got to take a shower and eat dinner still. But George, let the people know where they can find you.
Pony Bottle Champion YBTL Champ on the X format, also on PTCGL. I will try to be tweeting a little bit more frequently, and I got to do a EYC post. Um, yeah, how about you,
Yeah.
Kyle?
You can follow me at Koopa NJ across platforms. I'm everywhere. There's no more late nights for the rest of the season, so my Wednesday nights are free. But I do have some commentary stuff coming up uh, later in the year. So stay tuned. Follow me there to check in with that. And yeah, make sure to follow the Twitter account for us at Squawkcast. Follow us on YouTube. Check us out on Spotify. And yeah, we appreciate you guys
Like,
hanging with us.
subscribe, and comment. Please comment.
Yeah, it
Please
helps the
tell us,
engagement. Ring that
make
bell.
call me stupid. I don't care. Just comment. You know.
Trying to get that Blue Chew sponsorship by the end of the year. So, we're working on that one. But thanks for hanging out, guys. And next week's gonna be our Pokemon Day episode. So that'll be fun to talk about. So we'll have some interesting topical content. So you guys can look forward to that. And in the meantime, we'll catch you guys next time. Bye guys.
Cheers. Cheers.